mean, I already talked about the pairing together with a Monkey King and the sidekick paired together with a Pangolier. It's just so much lifesteal, so much damage. You go into the Aghanim Scepter, and then you're just constantly able to output an incredible amount more than you probably should expect from a Pango
Radiant team pick.
early-ish into the game.
Interesting.
Dire team pick.
That's also a very interesting pick.
I feel like you can Marcy into this. Like, you just can run down the Viper constantly if this is going to be like a Viper Pos 3. It might mean that they flex the Viper into the mid lane, but you pair together with Rebound, you're always going to be able to get
10
onto the
seconds
Viper
remaining.
in the safe lane. You're always going to be able to catch up with the Monkey King. You've got the
5
lifesteal to be able to
seconds
trade. Like, I think it's an amazing Marcy game right now for Made in Philippines.
I just wonder if they don't feel as confident with the hero. Maybe they just haven't had enough games to be able to play it and just scrim with it and learn how it can really work in a dynamic where you're playing as a 5-man.
Looks like Teehee's been playing a little bit of the Gyrocopter 5 recently. The main Marcy player so far has been Losify, where he played a couple of games and won today with it. But
Okay.
I don't know. It's such a good game for Marcy right now.
For Summit, though, with this Morphling pick, it's on paper, very good versus Gyrocopter, as just being able to morph into the Gyro, get your own flak cannon. And of course, Gyro doesn't have a stun and no real threat of being able to blow him up before the attribute shift. He does have to be a little bit cautious of like a monkey boundless strike in the trees into Pango rolling thunder and then maybe bouncing back on a wall or whatever location they're in. So it's something that Morphling has to be concerned about. And they're going to pick the TB into the Morphling. So we saw last game that the Morphling had a very good time versus Terrorblade. I think this was also partially a lot of other factors that was just carry to carry base, but they feel confident with this Terrorblade matchup.
Yeah, I mean, it's weird, right? Like, it's going to be so dependent on who hits their level timings in lane as well. We know that Viper is very easily able to bully that Terrorblade out if it's being played as that position 3, excuse me. You're just constantly layering the poison attack onto the TB. You might have a lot of armor, but it's got to be the vast majority magic damage that's going to be able to deal with you. Even just the tiny, right? Level 2 Avatos combination, very, very strong against this. So I'm a little bit worried. I feel like it's going to be a heavy kill lane in the Radiant off lane, Dire safe lane coming through in this game.
We're looking for Summit's 23rd. I believe it's... What are we looking for? They got the flex with the tiny. What would you rather the roles to be right now, and what hero would they then be looking for?
I'd
5 seconds
rather it be Morphling 1. Probably the mid or Pos 2 Viper. Probably mid time. I think they need a mid laner still. I think they need something else that's going to be able to dish out a good amount of magic damage from afar. Is it the Zeus? Maybe? Maybe this game, I mean, to deal with the Terrorblade, you've now got the Heavenly jump to be able to get away from things like the Rolling Thunder. I guess the thing is you're going to be going up against this Monkey King, which makes things a little bit more difficult, but I don't know. I think they just need some other kind of magic burst early on to be able to deal with this Terrorblade and make sure that there's no tower threat. It is magic, I suppose. Where's this Viper going?
I think the main thing is it keeps everything a little bit hidden. We don't know Sand King could go 3, Sand King could go mid lane, so can the Viper as well. So a bit indecisive of Summit's roles at the moment.
Could be a Viper 5 for all we know, but wouldn't feel super confident about that. What do they need? They need an offlaner for Made in Philippines. I mean, they could just be running the Pango in the offlane, but they are going the Wind Ranger. Okay, direct answer against the Viper. Pretty good burst against a Morphling as well if you're able to get the Shackle off. Who's playing the Pango? And Pango's shifted back to offlane now. I still really feel like it's a good mid laner.
I don't think you can play Wind Ranger in the other lane though, right?
Yeah.
Wind Ranger 3. Like I think just because they last picked this here as a response to the Viper. So we're going to see it played in the off lane here, given over to Crush, but still it's a Viper in a core role. I was going to say maybe they could get crazy, put like Tiny 2, Sand King 3, go Viper as a support, but so you kind of dodge this Wind Ranger matchup. At least you're not laning into him, but as the game goes on, the way to really deal with the Viper is just single target physical damage, and the Wind Ranger will definitely have that.
10 seconds remaining.
I'm not sure what Shazam is actually going to do in this safe
5
lane.
seconds
He's
remaining.
not really going to be too much help for the Morphling. You could secure range creeps, sure, but beyond that, it's really like you're just soaking a lot of the experience, or rather leeching a lot of the experience away from your carry. But the thing is, if you move away, you've got a Gyrocopter and a Pangolier that are super capable of taking out this Morphling.
Yeah, we brought it up in game 1, just mentioning that the Morphling Treant Protector is a very strong laning combo, just because having a melee hero run in front, 8 abilities, it's going to be a bit different now. So Summit Gaming, their dynamic in this lane, I feel like is a bit awkward, but they are up against a double melee, so maybe... How could you play this? Do you just spam Stroke? Do you spam Adaptive?
I don't think you can spam Adaptive. Like, you need some sort of way to be able to get away from the aggression, right? So you need the waveform. You obviously need the attribute shift. So yeah, I think at best, Adaptive is going to come at level 4, and by that time, I feel like the lane should already be won by the Made in Philippines roster. So
Okay.
I don't know. There's things about both of these lineups that I like, and there's things that I don't. You know, obviously the Wind Ranger is going to be good counter to the Viper. I feel like the lanes are pretty decent as well for Made in Philippines, with the Pangolier and the Gyrocopter and the Monkey King all pretty strong in the lane.
Prepare for
And then we just
battle.
saw what a Morphling is able to do against a Terrorblade in that game if you give him the opportunity to. Again, it's going to come down to execution at the end of the day. Viper's good against the TB though, and paired together with the Tiny, of course, another way to get out a lot of this burst damage. You know that He's also going to be running at you pretty consistently. High armor, but not the greatest HP pool. So yeah, lots of kills on this top side of the map. Bottom going to be a little bit more passive. Like if you force me to pick, I'd probably say Made in Philippines, but I can absolutely see a scenario where Summit's able to take this one.
What is that ideal scenario then we're looking for Summit? What's the road to victory?
30 seconds to battle.
Lanes need to go incredibly well. You need to crush the Terrorblade. You need to make sure that your Morphling's able to get a good amount of farm and not care too much about the burst damage coming out from the likes of a Pangolier plus the Monkey King. Of course, 2 very strong laners, and then you've got this mid lane Wind Ranger to contend with, so you need to make sure that you've got good vision to counter out any kind of movements coming through from him so that you're not falling down to that.
The battle begins.
CC White snag away the bounty, but of course it's going to come at a cost, as he will give first blood over to Ken on the Terrorblade. So in the end, it's going to be a 2 for 2, but of course Made in Philippines find that first blood.
They find the first blood, very important to get it in onto the TB, who's looking to make the most out of this metamorphosis.
Christ.
I mean, yeah, they doubled the damage at level 1 from the meta. He has the rocket coming out as well. Like, will this be able to kill? Probably not.
Is he...
Still, though, this is exactly what you want. You want to
Oh,
bully
boy.
the Viper away. You want to make sure that he doesn't have that level advantage. I talked about how important that is for this lane. Just abuse the fact that TB has very low HP, high armor. It's something that a Viper shouldn't have to care about, but if you're a full, basically, level behind, then you're going to have to care about it, because he's going to be, getting a lot of that attribute gain, and he's going to be just so much more farmed and have that damage potential to just turn right on back into you.
It's given a free start for Mr. Ken. So top lane is already looking flying for the Terrorblade.
Full level ahead.
Yeah, it's going to be pretty big. Mid lane, it's an interesting matchup. We don't really see the Wind Ranger a lot. So the second Wind Ranger is something I imagine that both Mercury and JG probably aren't too familiar with in regards to how this matchup will shape up.
The thing with the Wind Ranger is, of course, you could use the Wind Run to be able to better secure a lot of these power rooms for yourself, so you're not necessarily reliant on a lot of these rotations coming through from the supports. JG, the fact that he's
Top lane
sitting
Crush.
level with his...
Wait, hang on, he just TP'd back? Oh no, CZY, that's a huge avalanche. If Crush goes down, this lane is, I don't want to say over, but it's pretty close to losing your advantage.
I mean, what advantage, basically, at this stage, right? You've got Teehee now with the level 2, so didn't quite have the Rocket Barrage to be able to convert that, but now just looking to trade right-clicks with CZY, and why not? 6 armor versus 0. Even though Gyro doesn't have the greatest right-click damage, you're going to win that trade every time. All those stats as well.
Again,
Crush is
Crush.
going to die.
Missile should be able to catch
dead.
back up. CZY is going to go for the avalanche to delay this, and... Oh my god. At least Crush got a sell off the Cory, I suppose. These are minor things.
But, like, he can't farm. He is sitting 9th on net worth at this stage in a lane that, again, you want to be pressuring out this Terrorblade.
And we mentioned as well that it's not... You do have the Wind Ranger to counter you as the game goes on. As a... Just a game counter, Wind Ranger is going to be perfect with those right clicks from the focus fire. So that's a bit of a concern. Crush is going to have his impact, so he can never really step too far out of the lane. Now with better up, Crush is dead. CZY is way too far away to protect him this time. They're going to get plenty of damage coming through from the meta. And there we go. Finally get the kill. Crush, he's brought out so much regen. He brought the Selv out. CZY was funneling over some Tango, so now the Tiny's out of regen, and now this lane is... Yikers, bottom lane. Trezam is going to be in trouble as well. Swashbuckle if he wants to go for it on Repeater. Trezam's playing around with the Fairy Fight. They miss actually on the Swashbuckle, but Lucifer's got the damage to be able to get the kill afterwards.
You know, he's gone in pretty deep here on Unknown, still having, of course, the Fairy Fire and the Magic Wand, but with them not being able to secure another aggressive attempt, Grimstroke, of course, going to be able to TP immediately back to the lane. Oh, it's not looking good. I don't know how it happened, but they were actually able to get this pull off on the top side
Repeater
to
bottom
give the
lane
Viper
might be
at least a little bit.
Apologies.
They're giving the
No, it was... he's been sidestepping this stroke of fate. The Grimstroke's been spam casting and then stopping, then finally chucked out and then missed. So it's just funny to watch.
That has to be a little...
No, Trezam, no. Oh, another missed Swashbuckle from Rapido. He's been a bit off the mark to start this game.
So Crush has at least semi-recovered the lane now. He, like I was saying before, the hard camp was managed to be able to pull into the lane to reset their equilibrium a little bit, despite Teehee right-clicking the Tiny. I'm not sure why the creeps didn't aggro onto him at the time. He's going to try and do it again. This time around, making absolutely certain that he's not able to continue to reset this lane.
I think he's going to have a little bit of breathing room for like one more wave, but as soon as meta's back up, that's when you're looking to get aggressive. You want to shut him out for... How many deaths he got? Just the one death, but of course it's been a very difficult lane so far. So if you can kill him again with this next meta usage, then the Viper is a hero that is very slow to catch back up.
Yeah, true. You don't really have that great farming mechanic. Of course, the Nether Toxin can be kind of nice, I suppose, for just being able to bring it into the jungle, but they haven't had the luxury of being able to build up any stacks for him to accelerate that farm. Another creep wave pulled into this, so just going to give him a little bit of that easier time. Teehee, not quite level 3, but he should be able to leech this experience from the neutral camp here, so a couple of points now into the Rocket Barrage means that there's so much more kill threat on this top side.
See, Lucifer's already starting.
Really about mid.
Yeah, he's starting to make a rotation mid. It's actually going to backstab Mercury. They've got detection. They have the focus fire as well. JG doesn't have really a damage item to work with, so it's going to come down to the power shot. But with CZY rotating, Avalanche going to hold them back. The missile with the right clicks on Teehee diving under the tower. They're going to be okay, so they secure the kill. Trezam's going to rotate as well, so both supports from Summit making their way to mid to be able to at least get a 1-for-1, but of course it is a support for your position too.
Yeah, I mean, that's exactly what you want though, right? The Sand King loves to farm up a lot of that gold and then spend it for these big items early on. You can see here just boots, bottle, quelling blade straight into the blink dagger. Could have opted for the boots of travel as well, but regardless of which one he chose to do, it would have just meant that every kill on him is going to be so valuable because you're losing a ton of that unreliable gold and slowing down those
They're going to jump him. It's the Monkey King and Terrorblade combined together this time, and Trezam TP's in, but there's nothing that Grimstroke can do as the Viper, second death in this lane.
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
For I was about to say a dive here from T. He actually using the Tango early on just to enable this, and well, they're looking to connect through with his support pairing in Lucify.
There we go, jump in, Trezam. It's a lot of damage here. The double Primal Spring onto both the Titan and the Grimstroke, but Lucify's not going to stick around, especially with Crush TPing back to the lane.
Try and interrupt this here. We've got another Observer Ward, this time placed down by JG. Just looking to try and snipe a few of these creeps, and he does so. Things are looking really good for Made in Philippines now. I've really been paying too much attention to the bot side, though, and Unknown, he's been able to get that Morbid Mask, so now he can actually be just kept solo down here. Doesn't have to worry too much about the harass and kill threat coming through, even the Possessed Mask as well. Against that...
Mercury's one more right, JG? Oh, that's a big kill for the Wind Ranger to find. The Javelin delivered for Mr. JG's. That's all he was requiring to get the kill. We saw prior without that kind of damage item with the focus fire, they were lacking it. But this is... JG's off to a flying start as well, 1-0 and 2.
Radiant's courier has been
man, I didn't even think about... I know it's not relevant this game, but Marcy pairing together with a Wind Ranger. Focus fire, top side. They're going to find another kill onto Crush.
Oh, this Viper. What game is he going to have? The lane going as poorly as what it has. I struggle to see how they're really going to bring him in. And look at this. He's got Dragonlance and the Scepter queued up.
I mean, kind of has to. Like, he just needs to try and survive for as long as possible now. And those are the items that are going to enable him to do it. He's not a farmer. He's not a skirmisher.
JJ might be in trouble.
You're a lane dominator.
Nice rotation from Summit. The supports combining together to infiltrate into the jungle. CZY and Trezam combined together. So the bounty rune timing. They were expecting JG to move back there to refill the bottle. So beautiful read from Summit.
Also get a nice deep ward down, seeing the fact that the Terrorblade's farming up in this camp. Yeah, the bounty rune, of course, is one of those key timings. So good read of the map at that time. CZY, it's still going to be quite some time until he gets into that Blink Dagger and has his true impact, but it's just all about enabling Crush as much as possible. Let him build up that farm, use the Nether Toxin to cheat the farm a little bit. Just get that a little bit of extra by pulling
Mercury.
the creep wave into
It's a
the small
blink reveal
camp.
from the Sand King. Onto T once again, pretty much same spot almost as where we saw JG go down on the Wind Ranger. This was all set up thanks to the Observer Ward that was placed as well from Trezam on the Grimstroke. So nicely done from Summit. This net worth lead is not really continuing to grow.
Yeah, and the thing is, I was mentioning before how important it is to be able to consistently get kills onto Mercury. He died a couple of times, sure, once solo because of
Bottom
the Wind
lane,
Ranger,
Morphling, Rolling Thunder, Focus Fire from JG. Unknown's going to try and play around with the Wind Ranger replicate. It now turns for the Shackles. Beautifully done for the Morphling, and Mercury's going to jump in the lane. Offers the damage required to get rid of JG's Wind Ranger. And that was beautiful from Unknown, using the Wind Ranger back against himself.
Dire are scanning.
Zephy's a crazy amount farmed, though. Level 7. He's got 1.6k gold in the bank as well. I'm just trying to think what he even wants to go for here. Like, what's going to be the best option? Could it be something like a Mage Slayer, perhaps, just to reduce that damage output coming from the team?
You said for Lucify? Is that who we're looking at? Who are we looking at?
Yep. He's holding on a lot of gold. I really think the Mage Slayer might be the one. Able to get good value out of it with the Wukongs, just with the Boundless Strike as well. Able to connect it onto so many, and a lot of your damage output is dependent on spells.
Look at the secret shop down bottom. Mercury and Trezam. Just been spamming Epi and Ink Spell. Just waiting for someone to come to defend the T1 tower. Rapido is wary of this. He might have even seen the
Radiant's top
courier
tower
flying to
is
the
under
secret
attack.
shot with the absorber they have placed by the
Dire's
outpost.
middle tower is under attack.
It's just staying in the trees, though. Oh, they commit.
Oh, they're gonna go. Mercury jumps him under the T2 tower. There's the magic damage. Rapido is not gonna get away. Swashbuckle the last second. I was gonna say that, dude, if he gets away with all of this committed and all the time that Summit put just waiting there, then that would be a disaster. But crushed by the secret shop up top. JG is going to be able to run into him, and with Lucifer's position, we'll be able to scout out any more reinforcements that show up. They're going to continue to take the fight. They got the Wukong controlling the neighborhood, but to the north, Unknown waveforms aggressively finds a 1-for-1, but again, it's a support for a core trade.
A rolling stone.
Yeah, that's the important thing. Just making sure that the Viper continues to not have an impact on the map. Make more space for Ken on his Terrorblade. He's going a little bit of a slower... He's had a bit of a slower time, excuse me, compared to Unknown in terms of his farm on the TB in the previous game, but I think it's all just going to be how he actually converts the time that he has free on the map to not staying in the jungle, into pushing into these towers, because as of right now, Wind Ranger doesn't push towers, Pango doesn't push towers, Gyro support doesn't push towers, neither does the Monkey King. You can push lanes fairly decently with the Pango and the Monkey King, but it's really just going to be all on the Terrorblade to be able to make the most use out of his alone time on the map and free up more of those spaces to be able to farm, both for himself and his greedy supports. Like this Monkey King, he switched up a couple of times. I was saying the Mage Slayer, he previously had the Pipe queued, and now he's going into the Diffusal Blade.
I think it's pretty cool that we get to see an occasion where both the carries are on the like back-to-back games. They're playing the opposite carrier, I suppose to say. Ken last game was playing the Morphling, this game is playing the Terrorblade, and same for the carry on Summit. So it's just interesting to see kind of their adaptation to how they look to itemize. Of course, the 4 other heroes they're versing will be slightly different as well, but it's kind of cool to see the adaptation and how they read these carries a little bit different.
Going for a kill there on JG. Or at least just that little bit of a stun to be able to secure the Arcane Rune for himself. Of course, in that mid lane, so vulnerable to getting pickoffs, even just with the Javelin, right? You've got the Focus Fire available. You want to take advantage of it, but 4-man smoke actually coming out here.
Radiant's bottom
Mercury
tower is under attack.
have the mana pool to be able to take a
Radiant
consistent
structures
fight,
are fortified.
as Lucifer still just staying in
Dire's
the
top
trees.
tower
Great
is under
position.
attack.
That, yeah.
They're going to jump Teehee instead. Oh, man, Lucifer was almost clipped by the Arrow Strike. They're going to still jump in. Rapido's got the follow-up. They got the meta damage if Terrorblade's able to enter the fight, and he should be able to, thanks to all the stun lock that Rapido's providing. Now down to the south they go. They're going to try and chase down CZY in the tree line as Ken, right place at the right time, is the Terrorblade, and a 3-for-1 exchange goes the way of Made in Philippines.
Again, player of the series so far has been
Radiant's
Lucifer,
bottom
right?
tower
He's just
has
got a crazy amount of farm, more than his position 3. I was about to say, was he trying to snipe that full neutral camp that Rapido was taking? But no, just softening him up for him a little bit. Able to scout out that smoke, dodge the initiation that was
Dire's
coming in
middle
onto him
tower
as
is
well,
under attack.
win the team fight, and then that allows Ken to use the remainder of his metamorphosis to claim one of the first towers on the map.
Dire's top tower is under
It's like
attack.
Unknown's going to try and even out the trade though instantly.
Dire's
T1
top
tower claimed up
is
top for the
fallen.
Morphling, and this should give him enough gold for the Arsenal.
Radiant's middle tower
JG.
is under attack.
Posturing to get a kill, but importantly, it's just securing the regen as well. It's not going to be a power rune. Sorry, it's not going to be a kind of a make something happen rune, I should say, with like a haste or double damage rune for JG, but he'll use the regen to help farm.
Yeah, he could still look to join with the rest of the team, right? You got the Spirit Vessel coming out now for the Pangolier, and that is his,
Lucifer.
like,
He's got a solo Wukong's Diffusal Blade completed for the Monkey King, so trying to help bring down the Sand King. It's going to push him away from this skirmish, so there's not going to be the threat of that counter initiation. So nicely done from Lucifer. It is the Wukong's expended though for that.
I don't think you really care about the Wukongs, to be honest. Like, it's really just there to have that Orb of Venom procking on. And, well, the Spirit Vessel's the bigger timing. Rapido, he's been able to pick it up, and, I mean, look at what it means in terms of the net worth, though, this game. Even though he got absolutely crushed in lane, no pun intended, Rapido is still about 1,000 net worth behind this Viper.
This'll
So,
come in handy.
this is the downside, I think, of playing the Pango in that position 3 role, right? You don't get the earlier levels, you don't have the real impact coming out from Shield Crash and Swashbuckle just being maxed out early on, so kind of similar to where Summit fell apart last game. I really want to see Made in Philippines making the most of this timing with the Spirit Vessel. You're up against a Morphling. You got to use it.
Do you feel like they have to bring everyone in this smoke, or maybe they can smoke as 4 and connect with the Terrorblade pushing a lane?
I mean, I honestly think that you can just use the Wind Ranger plus the Pango, maybe the Gyrocopter as well, to be able to do it. Losify, again, doing a good job pushing out this bottom lane, making it so that someone needs to be addressing this, setting up for a gank perhaps towards the Morphling when someone reveals the fact that they're TPing bottom. I mean, it's a siege creep wave as well, so someone will need to address this, or at the very least, they might get a glyph out of it.
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
Look out for fallen rock.
Closing on some big items in regards to the carries. You got Manta completed on the
Radiant's bottom
TB, so
tower
nothing
is under
really
attack.
is going to have much impact in fights. Mainly this Manta is just going to help increase his farm, give him a little bit more stats as well, and for the Morphling, closing on the Sanj and Yasha for Unknown. So it's not like we're kind of looking for their item pool early on to maybe get involved.
I'm still just looking at how they've been able to execute on Made in Philippines. Why? Can you see a reason why they're not getting active? I mean, maybe waiting for the Blink Dagger on the Pangolier, but you've got a Wind Ranger and a Pangolier now that are both below the Viper that died 5 times in the laning stage. I'm not seeing it, you know? You're giving them time to be able to come back into this game.
I'm not sure if there was... It's come down to dewarding on Trezam. It just... Maybe it's the fact that they don't have deep wards. Hold that thought as Mercury's pump faking the epi on Tiki. They don't have any deep wards to play with, so maybe this is... I don't know how many... Well, we haven't seen them smoke in ages, so I have to imagine they got at least 2 or 3. You just got to smoke and get wards down. You need to set yourselves up for JG to get these pickoffs, and maybe it's also an issue because this tier 1 tower is still standing mid, so it's just a little bit more difficult for you to be able to venture aggressively into Summit's territory.
Sure, but I feel like you've got Monkey King, who's super capable under a smoke of being able to place a lot of these wards in unconventional places without getting caught out. So, I don't know, I just feel like they're missing their opportunity with how farmed Lucify is, with having that Spirit Vessel timing, with having, you know, a Wind
Mercury's
Ranger
gonna
with
jump.
Maelstrom.
They're onto Rapido deep behind the T1 tower here, but Mercury with the damage from the epicenter should be able to bring him down, but it's going to come at a cost. Wukong's along with the damage from Ken gets the 1-for-1 trade, and they're going to look to hit back onto Trezam. Ken has got to respect Crush for the moment, though. Sunned it out. Unknown very hesitant to jump and still he finds a window. Waveform into the middle. CZY's going to try and land the combo as well as Ken. He'll tick out to the magic damage, but they got the hit back as Unknown. He's in the middle. There's no escape with the Waveform still being on cooldown. An ultra kill for Ken, even in the grave of the Terrorblade. And they're going to move this one into a Viper. CZY slap down from the Pangolier. And maybe they were just waiting for Summit to get a bit too antsy, dive too deep, and then they could spring the trap.
Full team wipe coming through there. So much damage able to be output. Oof, nearly sniping JG as he goes for the double damage rune. But all that damage able to be
Radiant's
output by the
middle tower
Terrorblade
is
and the
under
Wind
attack.
Ranger. That was the fight that they were finally hoping for. Well, CZY, he really put in work as well. Multiple Avatos combinations, making the most out of the Blink Dagger, but still not enough. It's always the threat of taking these fights around these tier 1 towers, right? When they're just not down. Allows for those reinforcements to come. Gives you a little bit of that vision and attribute advantage with the armor. Just makes life a little bit more difficult.
The amount of experience I would have got as well, not just the gold. So it's not like they've grown too much in regards to the advantage in economy, but just the experience maybe finding these next talents. I mean, Terrorblade's hit his level 15. Got the Wind Ranger as well, who went for the Wind Run cooldown, so down to 8 seconds here for JG. But both position ones feel like a BKB is required at this stage of the game. Ken has already got his with the disassemble of the Dragon Lance, and I imagine we're going to see the same from the Morphling.
Dire's structures
This is-
are
Yeah, Crush could have had one as well, but
Jump
he realizes
in.
how
Oh,
important
double
Dragon
jump.
Lance is.
Just gets blown up into the next life.
Dire's middle tower has fallen.
Whenever this is happening, I'm just like, okay, what's Loserfire spending his time doing? Because, of course, he's super capable of being able to shove out these lanes without giving up his life. He's just looking to continue farming on this bottom side of the map. Won't do any tower damage this time, but I guess he feels like it's really important for him to pick up that BKB for himself to be able to counter out the threat of CZY just coming in, tossing him out of the Wukongs. It really is the big thing that's going to set up for, you know, your Pangolier rolling through, for your Terrorblade to just be able to stand there and right-click.
Summit there. Treating that Made in Philippines making a play down bottom. CZY and Trezam playing up by the high ground, but no one's going to be home, so they're going to back off towards their mid lane, being on tower defense duty. But I'm very surprised at the amount of farm that Crush has been able to find. Of course, it's not going to be a Viper that's scaling into like this third core, like right-clicking core in a way, but still the fact that it is higher net worth than the Wind Ranger. So big props to Crush.
I think the big thing for him is that he just needs to make sure. I mean, they're smoking when he's 20 gold away from the Aghanim Scepter. I think you need to make sure you're going past the secret shop, because if you're able to land that...
They're going to jump Ken instead, though. Oh, smoke pops. Unknown. Edge is a little bit too far forward. It's going to give him an opportunity to pop the BKB and turn it around. Now the Wukongs as well, controlling the fight. As with the backline, Ken, he's protected. There's nothing they can do on Summit without the... taking a fight inside their own territory. Ken can back up to his high ground and then reset. Crush should be able to TP out. I don't have any vision on the high ground, but a 3-for-1 and again another fight going the way of Made in Philippines.
Looks like they just want to convert this into Roche immediately while they've still got half meta duration, not caring about that mid-tier 1. They did have to use a decent amount of cooldowns on the Summit side, but Sand King still being dead for another 10 seconds is the bigger.
Regeneration.
Looks like they'll be able to secure it in time. Yeah, but you got a Monkey King providing all that vision.
JG's going to move outside the pit as well. Try to make some space, but there we go. Age is snagged there. No metas on cooldown. They can take the fight on Summit. Unknown's going to waveform in. CZY's going to jump as well. So 2 heroes bursted down just like that.
They cut their losses. It's supports at the end of the day, right? So it's not going to mean all that much. Lanes aren't in a position to be able to get too much more of anything. Tier 1 obviously already gone. Someone, or at least the Illusions, will be able to deal with these creeps in mid. So, yeah, I feel like Made in Philippines are going to be very happy with having that secondary life. We did see, though, at the very start of that, Crush, he's got the Aghanim Scepter now. It was the thing that I was really wanting them to get before they went for that smoke previously. Maybe it could have been a slight difference maker, probably not still, but every single engagement, he's going to look to try and drop the Viper Strike onto this Wind Ranger.
They're going to try and solo kill him on JG. They do
absolutely
see
can.
Unknown nearby, especially with the Rolling Thunder assistance. Rapido doesn't get the bounce back, but it goes the long way around for the double stun. Even clips on Mercury. Really nicely played from Rapido. They going back in. Dial starting to connect. Ken's beelining to the neighborhood. They want to take the fight. 4-on-5. Rolling Thunder on cooldown, but they will not be able to catch up.
But that's the great aspect of having that Viper Strike, right, against the Wind Range. You're essentially completely negating the impact of the Wind Run, right? Wind Run gives you that plus 60% movement speed. With 2 points in the Viper Strike, you're reducing 60% movement speed. Of course, it's slowly regained over the Viper Strike duration, but once you hit level 18, it's actually stronger for a good
Ken in the river.
Geostor's deck.
Mercury gets a jump as well onto Tiki. Ken's gonna actually consider about taking the fight. Metamorphosis pop for the first life, targeting down CZY, but the leash, it's gonna hold back Ken, so they'll turn to Mercury instead with a Burrow Strike, repositioning. They get the Shackle connection, but it doesn't matter. You can't take the fight with the BKB on cooldown, so this is a window now for Radiant. BKB meta down. You could consider about taking a fight.
Take your tribute.
I think they might just want to wait out this meta duration and then look to go. They don't even want to kill the Terrorblade at this stage. Like, of course, it would be great if they could, but he's still got the Aegis for 3 minutes. You are going to have the opportunity for someone to be able to TP in to help. Still all 3 tier 2 towers up. So it's either a, okay, well, they can't make anything aggressive happen. Let's just get our next items sort of situation happening. And, well, with Crush, he's saying, I want the Ghost Scepter. I want to be able to survive against this Wind Ranger, force her to go
Radiant's
into the
top tower
Nullifier
has
to be able to
been
kill me.
denied.
Honestly, even against the Pangolier and the Terrorblade, it's going to be a really useful tool.
Rolling out.
I see Unknown as well is considering about going into the Daedalus. Has Chrysalis already completed? So feeling like there's a bit of lack of damage here for the side of Summit.
Radiant are scanning.
Mercury is alright, gonna be alright. Gets a blink away from down bottom, so very even state of this game. Under 1,000 net worth lead for Summit at the moment. But we were mentioning that they might consider about taking the fight. BKB is back up from the Terrorblade. Meta as well has got 50 seconds. Only a minute 40 left on the Aegis though, so they might not get much out of this. Oh, loser fire up top.
Take it to tier 1.
Oh, they're just blowing up the Monkey King. That is a lot of damage when CZY drops the combo and Unknown has the follow-up.
As a result of that Observer Ward that they just placed up on the Tinker spot as well. Just
Radiant's
catching him out as he
bottom
was
tower
jumping
is
back
under
towards the
attack.
safety of the tier 2
Radiant
tower. And
structures are
they're going to pop
fortified.
an aggressive glyph here, of
Dire's
course,
top
also
tower is
protecting
under
against the
attack.
bottom side. Doesn't save the siege creep though. But it does mean that they don't have the backdoor protection, and well, maybe without that Monkey King, they're just feeling confident of saying, well, our supports are going to have a free
Radiant's
team
bottom
fight
tower is
without
under
that additional
attack.
vision.
Dire's top tower has fallen.
Summit first tier 2 tower of the game is going to be claimed, so they got the outpost control now. See Dire trying to wrap around their location though. Maybe see if they can catch someone out in the river. They do have this ward on the higher ground.
Dire's top tower
Run
is
into
under
anyone,
attack.
however.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
I feel like this game, at least in terms of the position ones, is almost an exact copy of what we saw last game, right? The Terrorblade 2 levels behind the Morphling. About to hit up onto your Skadi timing, though, on Ken. So let's see if he actually makes better usage out of it than we saw from Summit last time around. Might just want that level 20 for the extra common image duration or the extra all stats. It is going to be a very useful tool at just withstanding the initial burst barrage or putting a lot more map pressure on with, again, the use of those
Radiant's
illusions.
bottom tower is under
So what do we
attack.
feel like JG's role in these fights are going to be now that Viper has Ghost Scepter? Because it's going to be very difficult for JG to target him down. So who is he going to be putting a little bit more emphasis on?
For me, I would say probably the Tiny. Like, you're still obviously having the Maelstrom there, so even though he's got a bunch of armor with the Grow, that plus the Focus Fire is going to be able to kill him most likely in a lot of these engagements. So I think CZY has been playing these team fights pretty well so far. So if you're able to take out that impact, then it's going to be very important. We see a DD or Unknown up here on the top side, but I mean, we're speaking about the Tiny being the next main target. I think that was a double smoke. He's going into the Ghost Scepter himself as well. So it's just, he realizes he's going to be the next target as the priority there. And you
Radiant's
can even look to
bottom
build it
tower
into
is
an
under
E-Blade
attack.
later on. So it's not like it's pigeonholing yourself either.
Uh-oh. Get out!
Dire are
Nice
scanning.
scan. Decent.
Dire's
They've
middle
got,
tower
honestly,
is
very good
under
vision
attack.
down bottom to take a fighter made in Philippines, but obviously they don't feel comfortable at the moment. They did get those items completed, though. Skadi on the Terrorblade. Couple BKBs to work with. Wind Ranger's got a lot of gold in the bank, though, so
Radiant's
won't
bottom
have
tower is under
all her
attack.
net worth being utilized.
Has she even seen the Viper ever since he picked up the Ghost Scepter? I
Surely
feel like
would have
now
shown.
is actually the first time.
Long Rolling
in the jungle.
Thunder. They're going to consider it blow up Unknown for the moment, but it doesn't matter. Mercury gets a jump instead. Terrorblade gets blown up. Not an opportunity for the BKB nor the Sunder. Rapido's going to try and at least get the Tiny, but that's going to come at a cost. Blink up shortly. They'll get the damage tick. So he's going to be relying on the Swashbuckle down to the low ground, but Unknown, he's got the waveform range to close the distance. And you saw his made in Philippines. If they jumped like a second later, Pango, he would have been able to initiate onto the Morphling, but it just was not the case in the end. They get rid of Ken
Dire's
easily.
middle tower is under attack.
Buyback used here on the Pango. Oof, they were looking to go for a super deep dive there with Mercury. Just forcing him back, but this tower going to be dropping. Probably going to be a set of racks as well. You've got these creeps still staying alive for the next little bit. Of course, Viper,
Dire's middle
decent
barracks
right clicker
are
in his
under
own right. Surely they commit. Okay.
Radiant's top tower is under attack.
Full set of barracks
Dire's
advantage
middle
now.
barracks has fallen.
That's giving them a lot of gold to be able to play with. BKB just completed for the Sand King. Unknown 2,800 gold in the bank as well. So closing in on the Satanic. Summit prime position now. 7,000 lead. Off the back of that one fight into multiple objectives claim.
What it meant to the win probability. This is what I was talking about when I was saying, all right, you've hit a bunch of these timings, you got to make usage out of them. They just didn't. They made the exact same mistake that Summit did in the previous game. They just sat back on their laurels and were like, okay, we could just continue to farm with this. They've had one good
Radiant
team
are
fight go their way,
scanning.
realistically, right? That counter initiation around when they had the tier 1 tower still available from that mid lane, but they're not proactive enough. I mean, you've got a Monkey King, you've got the vision.
Oh. JJ being so far behind on the Wind Ranger, like not snowballing. KD is looking fine, 4-2 and 8, but this is a hero that you really need to take over the game. Like you can't be doing mediocre as this hero. You're kind of seeing some issues with how they can get pickoffs. They saw Mercury farming up the lane on the Sand King, but JG was reliant on, it was the Pangli on Repeater to be able to jump instead. So that just, there was an opportunity that slipped by, and there's been multiple opportunities that have slipped by as well.
I know he's playing it as a mid laner, but I'm almost wondering, like, is this a game where you need to go Gale Force just to enable your Terrorblade a little bit further in these team fights? There's only 2 BKBs on Summit so far, so if you can catch out a Viper and keep him
Dire's
pushed back
bottom
towards the
tower
rest of
is
the
under
team, it
attack.
does give you a lot more openings to have a successful
Lane
engagement.
crush. Repeater's got the Rolling Thunder. Oh, he misses the first stun, but the fourth stun back into the Rolling Thunder. Now the follow-up's going to come through. Mercury double burrow strike in the river, but Ken finally been able to stand his ground, protected with the BKB, the Metamorphosis as well. But Ken, is he going to stick around for this team fight? As he's wasted everything for the moment. They haven't been able to blow up the heroes on Summit. Ken still trying to find the Sunder tug. The BKB soon to expire. Gets the Sunder now with the bonus health over onto the Morphling, but it will not matter. CZY flies into the middle of the fight, drops the combo. TB's gone, and the Morphling reigns supreme for another engagement.
Dire's
I mean, the
bottom
Viper
tower
was
is
just
under
allowed to
attack.
come back into that fight. They didn't finish their food. That was a big difference maker, you know, able to get a lot of that movement slow onto the TB, make it a little bit more difficult for him to stand in man fight. Of course, as well, the magic resistance reduction that you were able to get as a result of just having even the single right click onto him.
Mercury's, he's having quite the game here on the Sand King. Especially that fight, just the multi-man burrow strike to initiate. And we even saw though, they gave the Lincolns, Ken had BKB popped early and the meta, so it was an engagement where we didn't see him get blown up, but they did a very good job to kite the TP. And do you feel like this is just, they're like maybe lacking stuns on Made in Philippines and they need to blow heroes up through like the Rolling Thunder usage?
I think so. I mean, I still feel like his Viper should be dying, and I mean, he's got the Hurricane Pike as well, so if you're the ones to make the aggressive movement onto, let's say, the Terrorblade, you'll be able to bring him low. It becomes a lot more riskier for him to potentially have that Sunder turn around moving forward, but as long as you get off the Hurricane Pike, you push him away, you get those last few right clicks with how farmed the Viper's been able to get, it makes things a lot more difficult, and well, he's actually got an Aeon Disc completed as well on this Viper. Has got it assembled, just wanting to be ready for that turnaround potential. Another
Okay.
DD for Unknown as well.
I look at Mercury's location. Oh, okay. They got the ward on the high ground, the Tinker ward, and no one else is nearby. So they get set up and they drop a couple of ultimates for this kill. But this DD might catch them off guard.
Just waiting as well. They want someone to come to the left-hand side. That's why Made in Philippines are hugging the one little area of safety that they've got. Unknown's a bait down here.
Don't do it. Don't do it. Lucifer's going to try and get them the vision. Leash onto the backline. Crush is able to get the Viper strike off as well. Lucifer's going to try and TP, but Unknown just destroys the Monkey King. Is going to try and transition this into a secondary kill. Repeatable attempt to TP up, but Mercury jumps into the tree line, offers the stun to cancel the TP in its tracks. And now the objective's soon to be under siege.
Dire's bottom tower has fallen.
They might be looking to continue in onto this. I mean, they've still got the Aegis. No double damage, but considering it is a 5v3, might be feeling confident. Although other lanes pushed out, still going to be quite some time until this lane of creeps comes. Seems like they're still fairly confident though.
CZY is in, tries to get the force toss back. It's not going to be able to do so successfully. They're targeting Tyon Ken. The Hurricane Pike back to safety. Ken's going to be fine.
CZY spent the big portion of that first engagement still with a Philosopher's Stone equipped, but now he's switched it in for the Blast Rig, considering he still had the Ghost Scepter to be able to protect himself. But yeah, this is another Terrorblade game that has not been aggressive enough. I was saying it before, he is your push, and it feels to me like they've been pretty lax on being able to use that one to its full potential.
How do you hold the defense now without the Metamorphosis? CZY gonna find Lucify in the tree line. He's gonna buy back Rapido with a long rolling thunder into the middle, but the force stuff again cutting the chain control into half, and they're trying to blow up Unknown, but he's got Aegis. Unknown does not give a damn. The damage, it's severely lacking without the mana, and towards the backline, Pangolier has got no assistance. He's way too deep, or maybe it's just a Morphling that is bodyguarding the rest of the lineup on Summit. Now they've been able to jump in. Soulbind into the double Burrow Strike. They'll have an opportunity for the BKB, but the Viper Strike connecting onto two. He's going to have to try and sunder his own teammate to get some health back, but Mercury, he'll die for his sins, but at least he gets a Burrow Strike before he's killed off. Maybe giving Morphling an opportunity to get rid of Ken, but that's not going to be the case, and back to the objectives they go. Man, these 4 staffs.
Just the one range Rax left as well. That should be mega secured.
Meta is up now. Of course, like you said, JG can cancel anything. Shackle's on cooldown. Gets the connection to CZY, so hey, at least you get the Tiny. Of course, it comes at a grave cost. That Mega Creeps now on the cards, and I imagine we're up to Rapier territory for the Terrorblade.
Suppose, but even then, it's just going to be quite a while until you finish that one up, and I don't think you have that time. You've just been a little bit too passive. Multiple Terrorblade games where you didn't group up with the rest of your team, and well, Summit exploited the fact that when that meta isn't available, your team fight prowess is so weak. Finally, going into the Nullifier on the Wind Ranger, it's going to be after the Lincoln Sphere. It's against a bunch of different Ghost Scepters. I think Grimstroke almost has his. You've got the one on the Tiny. You've got the one on the Viper as well. It's up against the Aeon Disc on the Viper as well. But Tiny could very easily go into the E-Blade here. Still go Shadow Blade instead, though. It's a type of blade, but just more of that pick-off potential, I suppose, considering the buybacks having been used previously by Made in Philippines.
Yeah, CZY has done a very good job with his initiation on the Tiny. Always feels like he's getting that right jump, trying to at least just control a target. If they're not even blowing up, at least it's forcing some reactions, breaking the formation on Made in Philippines.
Well, at least they got a leveler. You know, they're going to need to take some objectives if they're going to have any chance when they're coming up against Megas. What's Dota Plus giving them? 1%. They're saying there's a chance. Okay.
Hype.
You talk too much, Wukong.
You gotta... I mean, what do we even do at this stage? You've got a Monkey King that's near level 20, and he's holding on to a lot of net worth. I mean, you look at this, you probably assume that he might be a core at this stage, and he's certainly been farming like one. But, I don't know, it just feels like some of this impact might have been better if he went for that Wraith Pack that he's got queued up now, one item earlier.
Fortunately, there's another game, though, we haven't seen the... Well, we haven't really seen the Pain Go offlane have as much impact. Crushing game 1 really struggled. Rapido in game 2 is really struggling. You was just mentioning about the net worth on the Monkey King. You take a look at the Pain Goes, and well, the position 4 in rating is ahead of Rapido, so definitely not a game that you'd want to remember.
It's all about those levels, and unfortunately wasn't able to claim them, having to share a lane with someone else.
Last push! Summit
has been
Let's see how they can convert on this. Gonna try and jump the Terrorblade to start the fight. Merc, oh my, all right, well, bye-bye Terrorblade. Again, the leash into the double Burrow Strike has been perfect for some of these past couple of engagements. Ken's gonna buy back and try and get to the middle. They've got the detection out of him in the moment. Ken's already down to half health. He's gonna be ever so cautious he doesn't get blown up.
He's having to back up entirely. CZ White just looking for his opportunity to be able to go in and get the toss back happening under the cover of the Shadow Blade.
Here we go.
It'll break
Mercury's
now
in.
and...
On
yeah.
to Crush. Onto Repeater and CZY with the combination. Ken's going to try and protect himself under the cover of the BKB. But Crush will do the same with the Ghost Scepter. Now Unknown, a double waveform. Ken is out of magic immunity and is out of life. His game is done and dusted. As we go to a game 3. Summit. Beautifully done. They hit back in this game too, and they're going to end it with an ultra kill on Unknown beyond godlike.
What is it with today and these TBs just sitting back and being a little bit too passive when they're the only map obtainer, I guess you could call it. It's a little bit unfortunate that they weren't able to close out the series 2-0. I'm also 0-2 with my predictions so far today, but it's to me, it's still all on the back of the execution. Probably a little bit less so this game. I mean, it was perhaps a bit more draft-oriented, considering first game, off-lane Pango, I'm willing to let it slide because I'm like, okay, maybe these guys seem to know something I'm not. But this is 2 games in a row now where you've just seen the net worth progression drop off so drastically for the Pangolier, not have the early game impact that you're wanting out of it, not be this oppressive force, and it really doesn't feel like it has anywhere near enough of an impact if you don't have those early levels, if you're not having the capability of just getting aggressive early on.
It's back-to-back games now where the Morphling is going to be reigning supreme as well. We saw Ken, a lot of people saying Ken's Morphling looked incredible in game 1. Now Unknown's Morphling in game 2 looking solid as well. 16, 1, and 9 from him, but it wasn't just all on the Morphling. It felt like everyone on Summit Gaming did their role and they played it perfectly for the lads over there. Of course, the Open Qualified team battling against the Open Qualified team. So Summit's going to take it in 40 minutes in. And this now leads us into a Game 3 decider. We're going to send to a break, and when we come back, we'll find out who is going to be taking our first series of the night.